Hey everybody, welcome to Nomadic Moments. I'm your host Jake. Today we're going to continue the series that we're doing on our renovations to our truck, camper, and home Yolum. Today's topic is one of the most important renovations that we did. Like most of you out there, we can't afford to eat out all the time, but we need a place to keep our food and keep it cold. So we needed a good refrigerator, but not just any refrigerator would do. We needed one that was not going to be a power hog and that was going to cooperate well with our solar system. If you haven't checked out that vlog post, there is going to be a link right there. So we found this, the amazing Dometic 65DZ refrigerator. It seems like it's a cooler, but it's actually a refrigerator and has a freezer. So for now, let's take a look back at how we installed this Nomadic friendly refrigerator. Alright, so here's the deal. We've got this Dometic refrigerator that came with the pop-up camper. It's a power hog. It pulls 15.5 amps all the time. So regardless of setting, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if it's a hot day or a cold night, it pulls 15 amps. It pulls too much for my batteries to handle. I need to get a refrigerator that pulls way less amperage. So I found one. They're the cooler style, and they pull on average about 2 amps. Big difference, about the same cubic volume, just a big difference in power consumption. So I got to remove this, and then the two don't, obviously one's a cooler, this one's a front opening refrigerator. It actually holds cold air really well. Like, it's been off for days and it's still pretty cold. So if you want it, it'll be on Craigslist. Refrigerator's got to come out, so I got to pull the door off. It's got a couple of screws in it. I gotta detach the gas out of the back, of course all the electrics out of the back, and then hopefully it'll slide out. We'll get it out of here. I'll re-engineer the space. That's the task for today. So I removed the front panel. It's up there. Pretty easy, 2 screws come out, it pops right out. I needed to do this so I can remove these hinges so I can pop the door off. I thought the door would just lift off, but it doesn't, so you gotta remove this hinge. So I've got the refrigerator out. It's kind of nasty in there. Apparently flies like to get in there and just die. Had to take the vent off. Got to remove that fan yet. We've got these 2 big holes from where we removed the refrigerator and took the venting off. So we got to plug these. For us, we're taking the back wall apart as well and putting canvas up here for various reasons. Check out the adding the canvas post to have more details on that. But so we took the wall out of there, so we've got some pieces that we're gonna use for that. We took the door apart, the foldable wall door part anyways, and grabbed the pieces out of it. I had to peel the frame off. So there's the door frame. It's in a lot of different pieces now. So the wall sections that are actually made, they come with these metal brackets, so I had to peel those off. But here's what's left of one of the wall pieces. I've already cut it to my height, and I'm going to cut it to my width. But before I do that, I'm going to take the foam out along the top edge and replace that with a board, so I have something to screw into when I try to mount it to the camper. So I'm taking my my razor blade and I'm going to run it along each edge to loosen up the foam from the edges, and then I'm going to take about every inch and I'm just going to do a vertical slice. It's hard to see, so just like that. So every inch along I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to run a flathead screwdriver along and pop all the foam out. That should be relatively even when it's done. But I'll take the tape measure and just double check it, and then run the flathead screwdriver along there some more and pop out foam if needed. And then I'll cut my piece of wood to that size, my 1x3s. I'll cut to that size to make sure it fits, and so it'll only end up being probably about an inch deep, but that's enough to screw to for support. So yeah, that's how I'm going to do that on this side, and then I'm going to cut my lengthwise, and I'm going to do the same thing on the short side because it won't have a support board on the far side either. So you know, the edges already have it. That's what we're gonna do, and then we'll have our piece to plug one of our holes, and then we've got to do it again for the second piece, which is gonna be more of a challenge because these aren't wide enough for the second hole to fill, so I'm gonna have to put 2 pieces into that hole, but we'll get it done. So this is my panel. I went in and put some tacks in the edge to hold it to the wood frame, and I also put these screws in each corner, well, at least the ones that didn't have them already anyways. And I also did liquid nail along each of the edges. I cleaned up the edges real nice with my razor blade, got all that old foam and glue off, and put in some liquid nails and put the board in. So I'm gonna give that a little time to dry, but that's the first one. So I finished piecing together my outer shell out of the door pieces. So like I said, I had to put 2 pieces together. You can kind of see I put a little junction plate here on the back, and I actually used a 1x3 slightly cut down, again, to recess into the foam into both sides so that there is a good strong connection between them. And I sealed it up with liquid nails, and then on the outside I went ahead and put the sealant on there, the weather sealant, inside the crack, and then closed it up and drilled it together. So I've got it all clamped up and drying now. Let me show you what we've already done with the other hole. So out here on the side of the camper, you remember there was a hole right here for the bottom vent access to the refrigerator. So it's nice and solid. You know, we put the weather sealant in the crack as we put it in. I also put liquid nails. I put liquid nails on the inside of the frame, and then did the weather sealant on the outside of the frame, on the outside of this piece before I put it in. And then when I slid it together, the liquid nails is on the inside, holding strong. Weatherproofing is on the outside. And then also on the inside, I put these backings. I had to use some washers because for whatever reason, it's about a 1/16 off between the 2 pieces, between this panel and the one that was existing. So anyway, so I had to use some of these. I went ahead and pre-drilled them, one of these in each corner, and then so I'm getting 2 pieces biting into the camper, and then 1 piece biting into the piece that filled the hole. And then I'm also doing 1 longer piece across the top middle on each side, so just like that on the back side. Here's what it looks like on the inside. You can see the liquid nail came through a little bit, so it's not going to be the prettiest thing, but there will be a cooler refrigerator right here in front of it, so it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing. It'll be blocked. The top section is going to look the same way, and I think the cooler won't reach that high, so I think what we're going to do is just put a picture over it, make it look a little nicer. But it'll work, it'll hold together, I think. So these are just little thin pieces of Luan, but again, they don't have to be very much because there's structure on both sides of the panel there, so you can get into that 1x3 that I put in there, which is really a 1x1 once I cut it down. So, and then there's structure here as well, so it'll hold together. Again, I had to put some washers on the panel side because it's a little thinner than the wall side, for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why they did that. Next point is we're going to come up here and we're going to fill that one. We thought about doing a window there, which would be another good choice, I think, but the cooler needs to stay as cool as possible. It doesn't need to be in direct sunlight. There's an electric socket right there. I'm going to pull the cover off, and the bottom of that electric socket hole is going to be the top of my wall here. So right next to the stove, I'm just going to lop it off right there. Yeah, you can see my boards back there from where we plugged the hole. We're going to make that look nice. But on either side of this, we're going to put paneling. And then like I said, I'm going to move that electric socket. We're going to put it against the wall back there. And we're going to add a DC circuit, which is what the refrigerator is going to run off of. And then I already got the wiring because the old refrigerator had it. So all I got to do is put it into the new circuit. And I've cap the gas there. So I'm gonna leave the pipe just in case technology, you know, whatever develops, I'll have it. Yeah, and then I'm gonna put a cap in front of the wires. Probably just a little box cap because the refrigerator needs air to be able to circulate around it. So trying to keep that happening. And then I'm gonna use some angle aluminum to create kind of a frame that'll hold the refrigerator in, so it'll kind of come out here a little bit and then go over and around, and that'll hold it. I just finished plugging these holes back here. That was the drain hole for the old refrigerator, so I had to widen it a little bit because it was just circular cuts. So I widened it a little bit, traced it, and made a cut and plugged it with another piece of the back wall that we have been using to plug every hole. So when I decided to move the electrical outlets here, it gave me some space above the fridge and behind. This worked out perfectly for spices and things. So I just built this lightweight shelving. It's just got some this faux wood stuff on the front and just some 1/2-inch board back there backing it. Underneath the shelving here, I used this piece of thin wood. It's a Luan. I painted black to just cover up the wiring. I wanted to use the same faux wood paneling, but I ran out of that. I used a lot of it in the bathroom, and I didn't want to buy another huge 4x8 foot sheet just for this little section. So it's behind the refrigerator. We won't ever see it. So our new cooler Dometic refrigerator is a little longer than the old refrigerator was. So I needed to extend this platform for it to sit on. I just needed to extend it long enough to get the foot braces on the bottom of the refrigerator onto this platform. So I just added a little 1/2-inch piece of ply here and just another one back here to make it level. And I used it's a faux tile. It's almost like plastic. It's really lightweight, and just glued that down to the wood. Makes it look really nice. Another final touch was to add the cap onto the top of the wall here, just to clean it up a little bit. So I found this, which matches the other stuff in the camper really well. I got it from Camper World, our local Camper World. Here's the space all finished out and ready for the refrigerator. So I put foam on both sides. On this side, some to keep it off the cooler, keep the cooler from rubbing, and I really hold it in place. And then on the outside to keep us from hurting ourselves on the metal, especially in the corner. You can see I doubled up. I've got this pretty close to where the handle is, so it's a pretty tight fit. So not much room there for it to jump, so it's not going anywhere. But I've also got plenty of room, you know, you can see plenty of room there to really vent things. And then obviously the vents on this side vent into the space. Well, there you have it. That's how we installed our Dometic CFX 65DZ cooler refrigerator into our full-time nomadic home. If you want more details on that installation process, check out the blog post. I put a link just below. We've been out on the road for a few months now, living the nomadic lifestyle, and I've got to say, without this refrigerator, I don't know if it would be possible. The old unit pulled about 15.5 amps per hour. This guy pulls about 2.5 amps per hour. It varies, but in about 80-degree weather, it's 2.5 amps, which is really nice on the batteries. If you want to know more about our thoughts on this amazing refrigerator, check out our website. There's a link listed below. And search for our amazing Dometic CFX 65DZ refrigerator. That's a mouthful. But we'll see you guys next time. Until then, we're going to keep traveling.